All right. I don't see. There we go. Allow to talk and promote to panelist. Okay. So Jeffrey, you should be able to share your video. And if you can let me know if you can hear me, you should be unmuted.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn this up so I can hear you. Are you able to see where you can throw some video up?
It's not letting me. It says you have to.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Let's see. Panelist. Okay, so make host. No, not change that. Change role, forbid record. Let's see what happens when I put make host. Jeffrey, you should be able to.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. All right. Fantastic. Looking sharp. Looking really sharp. Let me see what we got over here on YouTube. I just have to I gotta mute YouTube so we can so it's not gonna be an echo or anything like that. How's your day been, man? I heard it rained all day today, so it's like
a lot of phone calls.
Construction gets done, right?
Never left, but you just took a lot of phone calls.
Yeah. I was trying to tell my friend other ways to what he should be doing while all this rain is happening. Because that can be murderous on the. In fact, I had an adjuster today. I had to reschedule an appointment for the homeowner, and the adjuster was just like almost upset that he's like, what? I can't. The latest I can do is 3:30. Why can't she do Friday? And I'm like, well, I mean, she has a doctor's appointment. And then he's like, oh, I hate to push it back till Monday because all the rain we've been having, I have so many claims and I'm so backed up. And I'm like, well, it's your customer though. Like,
right. That seems to get lost in the mix.
Right. There's nothing that we can do. So I don't know. On YouTube, your video isn't showing, but I'm not sure why it's not showing up on YouTube. Let me see something real quick. Oh, I don't know if it's sharing. That sucks a little bit. Let me do share this way. And then that should help us, I think, with Zoom. So we'll see how it continues to go for us. But hopefully everybody can see us. We got Daisha Wheeler, Matt Hanna from Ohio, and Lioness Beloved is checking in. Then we also have Lolita from Texas, and Shannon Dent is in Decula, Georgia. We also got Levon Wiley, Catrice Clark. Just check in, guys. Let me know what city and state you guys are calling in from or tuning in from. Also, let us know if you're an adjuster now, like what you're doing now. Do you have your license? Are you studying for your license? And I have a lot of questions that I'm going to ask Jeffrey, but feel free to type in the chat and ask questions to me as well. I'm still trying to work out the little technical stuff. So you guys might see Jeffrey, you might not. I'm working on it. But again, check in. We got a few people from Texas on. We got somebody from Louisiana on. But yeah, continue to check in. Let us know where you are. And Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So currently a contractor, own a roofing company outright. And something we didn't discuss, I actually just recently took half ownership in a water mitigation and restoration company. So kind of branching out to all the insurance avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was a staff adjuster here in the Atlanta area, most specifically like East and Northeast Atlanta inside the perimeter. I did that for about 1.5 years as a staff adjuster. And then before that, I was actually law enforcement for about 6 years.
I think that's so interesting because I was reading that on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh my God, this guy was a cop. How do we get out of those tickets in Georgia? I'm being hit left and right with these tickets. How did you get into adjusting? Like, what happened from you being a cop to becoming an adjuster?
Yeah, so I was actually a detective at the time, and just kind of got tired of everything policing. So I had a buddy of mine that I actually policed with. He was an adjuster. He was new at it, and so of course he sold all the benefits of leaving that kind of work life and going to adjusting and how great it was. And it's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You work from your house. Um, and the pay was better, of course. And so better pay, better hours. I was like, this is a no brainer.
Okay.
And so up and left and got hired on pretty quick, actually, as a staff adjuster. I think from the day I applied till like my orientation was maybe 3 weeks at most, if not a little less than that. So I kind of breezed through the process.
Okay, so that's really, really sweet. And when you I was going to ask you just now. Oh, so like as travelers, you guys only worked Monday through Friday? You didn't
Yeah, so
work any?
as a staff adjuster at Travelers, you're a Monday through Friday employee. They don't expect you to work the weekends, answer your phone on the weekends, answer emails on the weekends. So that aspect of it in the beginning was pretty nice.
That is so different from being a cat adjuster.
Yes,
Cat adjuster is like 24/7, and I mean you never not answer your phone. Like, I
right.
mean, even on your paper days, that's when you do most of your phone calls. Even
Yeah,
if you're able to break away and maybe go out, run some errands and stuff like that. I mean, I took as much advantage as I could with it, but you definitely don't have just like days off. So that's super, super different. So everybody, if you're just tuning in, we are talking to Jeffrey Titlebaum, right?
got it.
Titlebaum, and he is a former police detective, former claims adjuster. Now he is the sole owner of I guess a roofing company,
Yeah.
and I want to say general contractor restoration because he's also doing water mitigation. Now, can you tell us the benefits of adding the water mitigation portion, and what's it like being a roofer? Like, what's the money like, and what's the job like that you do and people who work for you?
Right. So the benefit of doing the water mitigation, it's actually another roofer buddy of mine who kind of got me into the roofing business. We wanted a way to be recession proof.
Mhm.
Obviously the economy's been really good for a long time, and we recognize that. Don't know how long it's going to last for. Um, but sometimes with roofs, even if it's an approved claim, let's say, someone might not want to spend that $1,000 or $2,500 deductible to do their roof replacement.
Mhm.
Whereas in water mitigation and restoration, uh, none of our stuff is, non-emergency. Everything that happens is required to happen. They call us in an emergency. It could be late at night. It could be, early in the morning. They're freaking out. We
Uh
have to
huh.
get out there, get it done. Um, and so it's been a nice supplement to our income. Um, and we've been staying busy. I mean, honestly, the wintertime in roofing, a little bit slower, not as many storms. So, you don't stay as busy.
Mhm.
But with water mitigation, wintertime really is the busy time. If there is
Right.
a, if there's a slow versus busy for water mitigation, I mean, if anyone on here's done adjusting, um, it seems to be nonstop. Uh,
Right. Right.
but it's been nice. It's supplemented our income pretty well, and we've taken off pretty quick with it. And then having the
Okay.
adjusting experience has really helped out, especially when it comes to getting our water mitigation estimates approved.
Mhm.
I already know all the formulas. I know what is and is not going to fly with an IA or a staff adjuster here in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So that makes it a whole lot easier, not a lot less arguing, which is a huge issue when it comes to dealing with adjusters. You know, so
Gotcha, gotcha. Now
yeah,
we do have a couple people. I see Glam Girl Wreaths and Home Decor. She is exploring adjusting careers. I also see Shannon Dent is a total loss adjuster at State Farm. I'm seeing a couple people checking in from Florida. Levon is in California. I think we've talked before, Levon. And then I see Roberta is down there in Atlanta. Glam Girl Reese and Home Decor has a question, which maybe she could clarify. It's a general question about how often we get paid. Is it weekly or I think bi-weekly? So with travelers, were you guys getting paid weekly, bi-weekly? And I heard you guys get a bonus if you guys settled claims like day of. How did that work?
So it was bi-weekly, direct deposit, which made things real easy. You also got a car, which you did have to pay for to a point. I think it was $90 a paycheck, but it's unlimited use to a
Nice.
point. Pay for your gas, pay for your insurance, and I think it's like if you go over 20% personal miles, you have to claim that on your taxes.
Okay.
So that wasn't bad. Yeah, there are year-end bonuses and raises based on performance.
Uh-huh.
And there's a whole bunch of factors that go into, what your rating is as an adjuster there.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah,
so
I
you do
mean,
get rated.
say it again.
You do get rated.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's
Gotcha.
there's like, I think it was like satisfactory, above, and below. I think those were like your three options.
Oh wow. Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, and I know I started out as at a roofing company. We got paid weekly. What do you guys do with your team? Do you guys pay out weekly, or do you wait for some of the insurance money to come in?
It's typically pay as you get paid.
Okay.
For some of the newer guys, if you come on and you like start signing work, like, if you're a hard charger, and like you can typically tell from the beginning if someone is going to be someone that needs their hand held the whole time, or if it's someone
Mhm.
that actually has that drive to get out. They know the money's there. They know they can go make a bunch of it, and they're willing to get out, make contacts, use their contacts, and, really make things happen. Um, if we got people like that, as their claims get approved, we can like give them a forward of cash just to keep them operating.
I gotcha.
You don't want someone to sit there and have to, if anyone has adjusting experience, sometimes because a claim gets approved today, that payment might not come for 3 to 6 months sometimes, depending
Right.
on really how the adjuster handled the claim. Do they leave a bunch of things off? Are we going to have to sit there and supplement forever?
Mhm.
And we're not the kind of company to like churn and burn claims. So we're not going to get accepted, put a roof on the next day, and then drop a crazy supplement down the road just to see what'll stick.
Okay.
We'll typically write our supplements prior to our roof installations.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that too as well. It makes the adjuster's job a lot easier.
Right.
And then they also can you also get to set the tone, like
You
the
do.
playing field and the temperature for like your knowledge and expertise for
Yeah.
exactly what
I
you want to
mean,
go for.
yeah, you show me know what you're talking about, for one. And two, I mean, if they start denying a bunch of things that are necessary, it really makes them look kind of awkward in front of your customer,
Right.
especially if you've educated your customer up front. If you've explained to them what the claims process looks like and what could potentially happen. Um, and we just ran into this last week on a water claim where it got very awkward in a customer's basement. The
Okay.
adjuster put himself in a really deep corner on a water claim,
Hmm.
and it was like, okay, like you can make yourself look silly as an adjuster really quick. um if you try to call somebody out on something and they know the facts, and then the customer's there to watch it happen and go, well, hey, Mr. Adjuster, is my contractor lying or not? And
Right.
they have to admit, like, no, they're accurate. It kind of puts them in a corner. So we like to try and do things up front. We don't want to seem like we're shady, or we're, one of these companies that are just throwing things at the wall to see what'll stick, because any adjuster knows you're going to see that happen from time to time.
Cool, cool. And so you didn't mention the name of your company. So do that for us. And just if anybody's joining us, just tuning in, we're talking to owner and of a roofing company. I think it's RST Roofing, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And it's a former adjuster and a former police detective. So we're taking your questions, ask him anything so that you all can kind of get the ins and outs of what adjusting is like and why he kind of switched over. And that's what I'm wanting to get down to too in the nitty gritty of working on the contractor side. But before we do that, can you explain, because you mentioned supplements? Dwayne McNeese asked, can you explain what you mean by supplements?
Sure. So there's like certain items, especially in roofing, that you'll see that maybe like code upgrades. Some of the common ones are like step flashing, drip edge, rolled roofing in the valleys, and so depending upon what insurance company you're dealing with, they may not put those in the initial estimate, and so you may have to fight with them to do the code upgrades because they may not want to do it. One of the other big ones is um, we're supposed to do it to manufacturer specs. So when we install the roof, one of the biggest codes on there, and it says you shall abide by the manufacturer specifications. And so a lot of pushback will get as well. They didn't have that before. We can't pay to upgrade them. Well, if they have laws and ordinances in their policy, you can pay to upgrade them because that's what they're paying a premium for, that coverage in the policy. And so a lot of times it seems like we're having to explain that to adjusters. And it seems like a lot of new adjusters, if you've never been in the business and you get taught from the beginning, which I did, and I notice it now a lot more that I'm on the contractor side, is you almost take it personal when contractors are requesting more money. Like as if you're losing the money that, and you're like, wait, do I have to pay for this? And so, yeah, I mean, you do. And so
Right.
a lot of companies will supplement for all those items after the roof has been installed. We do it beforehand because technically in the policy it states you are supposed to request anything before work begins to get it approved. And so we find our success rate on getting supplements approved are much higher if we come in the beginning and say, hey, you left all these things off, we need them paid for.
Right, right. And how important is it to know the policy? Because I'm in Philadelphia here, and we spent all of last week just going over each and every line of section one of the policy. We also did the exclusions and the definitions too. How important is it on the as an adjuster and as a contractor to know policy?
As an adjuster, it is extremely important. There's so many different policies in different parts of the country. And so, if you're going to be a staff adjuster for a specific area, it'll be a little bit easier to learn your policies, especially if all you're doing is residential losses. You'll learn like your HO3, like the basic homeowner's policy, maybe like an HO6, like a condo owner's policy. And then you'll start finding some other ones like landlord renter policies and things like that. And each one of those has so many different exclusions, or the open peril versus name peril, and you have to know the difference between each one because as an adjuster you can lose a lot of money if you don't apply your coverage correctly on a claim.
Right,
And
right.
as a contractor, it's the same thing. And most contractors don't have a lot of policy knowledge. I mean, quite frankly, I've run into tons of contractors that I'll speak about a policy thing. They're like, what are you talking about? And for me, it's real basic knowledge. And I feel like every contractor that does any kind of storm or insurance restoration really needs to know, because you could leave a lot of money on the table as a contractor, and the insurance company's not going to reach out to you to provide you more funds on a claim. I can guarantee you that. And so it helps a lot. And water mitigation is huge. You need to know, is this going to be a covered loss because it's from inside the house, or is this going to be excluded as flood or surface water because the water came from outside into the foundation? And
Right.
so that can make a big difference when you're doing a claim, because your customer might expect, hey, I've only got $1,000 deductible, everything else is covered. But if you get in there and tell them like, yeah, it's going to be covered, don't worry about it, and the adjuster comes out and there's clay and mud inside the basement and it's clearly from outside, and they say, hey, this coverage is 100% denied, as a contractor you already look pretty dumb, and you've already set yourself up for a payment issue, because how much are you going to charge this person out to do this dry out and the extraction and the rebuild after you told them insurance was going to cover it?
Right, right. And so I want to touch on that point because I had a claim where I thought actually it was the BUSD. I thought it was the backup, but when we snaked the drain, it actually turned out there was like a bunch of baby wipes and things actually clogging her drain from years of, well, I think her granddaughter was her granddaughter was walking, so a year plus or something like that. So it was like a year of baby wipes getting fed into the pipe, and her BUSD, which for everybody who's listening is backup of sewer and drain, which means that the city water backed up into your home. That's different from when the water actually is coming from your house and doesn't make it outside and just backs back up into your own home, into her basement. So the coverage difference goes from a $5,000 policy limit to no limit, because it's the accidental discharge or overflow of water. But with your mitigation company and your roofing company, are you guys staying busy with work? And would you guys also be looking into having people come learn how to do water restoration? And I think you guys are doing some other things on the contractor side, right?
Yeah, we're staying busy. For it being a slow roofing time, I mean, we've got several roofs under contract right now. We've done a couple here recently. Um, and with the weather, of course, we keep having to backlog all of our roofing work because we have to find a good day. And
Right.
then even this week, it's supposed to be sunny, but it's supposed to be below freezing for a lot of the days. So realistically, we're not going to put a roof on in that kind of cold weather, because it's going to violate the manufacturer's specifications for installation. So
Right.
we keep backing that up. But the water stuff is busy. We've got several jobs going on right now in Metro Atlanta. And that's keeping us active. We are trying to bring on more people at this point, just because we're kind of stretching ourselves so thin.
Mm-hmm.
So not like salespeople, technicians. A lot of technicians, even for water mitigation, make pretty good money. I mean, it's a few hours of work typically to do demo,
Uh-huh.
and then they're gone to the next one. And usually they're getting a percentage of the water mitigation claim.
Okay. What
So
percentage?
anywhere from 10 to 15%, depending upon the amount of work they're going to do. So
Okay.
if they're going to come in, if we call up our technician and say, hey, Alpharetta, water loss, let's say the supply line in the sink burst and now it's going down to the finished basement, we need you out there ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
If they go out, you know, scope the loss, start doing some demo, cut the water, bring some equipment, that'll be like a full 15% commission essentially off of the
Mm-hmm.
water mitigation claim,
Okay. Okay.
because you're helping us out by getting to the customer as quickly as possible, which in a water claim is typically the most important thing.
Yeah.
Stopping the source and starting the drying.
Yeah, water claims are our favorites. On the PA side, water claims are super favorite. They pay out so much. So I
Yeah.
want to run a scenario past you with that percentage, just to make sure I understand correctly, because my father, he had a sub pump back up into his home. A mitigation came out for State Farm, never sent out an adjuster, which was an issue. But when the mitigation bill was, I think, 15,000, right? So he had that money, but then we went through Metro and we got him 25,000 for that. But let's say like the mitigation company comes out as 15,000. Are you saying your team makes 10 to 15% of that? Like if all of that goes out to it goes to your company?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the difference with water mitigation and roofing. Roofing requires a lot of overhead on every single job. There's always materials and there's always labor for everything. And materials
Uh-huh.
and labor are expensive in the roofing world. So is insurance. I mean, it's expensive.
Okay.
With water mitigation, once you purchase the equipment and it's paid, your overhead's pretty much gone. I mean, at that point, it's really just your time. And so, like that example, you get a $25,000 water claim. If all that equipment's paid for, and all I'm doing is paying, $2,500 to $3,500 to my demo guy, my business partner and I at that point are splitting over $20,000 in profit for what might be a 5 to 6 day job. So, I mean,
Right.
the possibilities there are quite extensive. Whereas in a roof, it is a 1 day job. The
Mhm.
margins are still pretty good. I mean, even if you're getting that 40, 55% or more, depending upon, how the claim goes,
Yeah.
it's still not bad. But on a $10,000 roof, that means maybe you profit 5 grand.
Right. Okay.
You
Gotcha.
see what I mean? So
Yeah, 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 absolutely. For now, working with the public adjusters, all of my so the average roofing claim that as a contractor when I started was probably like 5,000. Sometimes you get these baby roofs, right? Like
right.
these baby gable roofs. They pay maybe like $300 one time. I remember I made for commission. I was like, oh my god, that's so little. Even though I
Hmm.
only spent maybe 2 hours, with the adjuster
Sure.
appointment and signing the contract. But now, working with the PAs, all of my lowest roof has come in, I think, at 25.
Yeah, they're
I'm getting the percentage from that. Just, I mean, even just adding overhead scaffolding is crazy, just so that somebody has somewhere safe to walk
right.
in and out of their
Right.
home. Which I'm like, because at first I'm like, how much can you really add to a roofing claim? I mean, like, what's there? But man, they're killers, and if there's interior, I mean, they are
Oh yeah.
dogs and go get that money. But
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Let me check the chat real quick because I know people have been the chat's kind of been blowing up. And if you guys are just joining us, we're halfway through our conversation with Jeffrey Teitelbaum. He is the owner of RST Roofing, former Travelers Claims Adjuster. We are asking him questions so you guys can learn more about not just claims adjusting, but the insurance industry as a whole. I repeat and repeat and repeat that this industry is $1.4 trillion strong. Okay. It doesn't just support you when you have an incident, and it's super stable. I'm here in Philadelphia. It was the birthplace really of insurance in, I think, 1756 or something. So guys, get in this super stable industry. It makes more money than tech. It makes more money than entertainment. It makes more money than the legal community. And so my goal here is just to kind of give you guys another outlet. You guys have been hearing from me for years now, but Jeffrey and I met on the claim one time, and man, do you remember that claim? That guy was so angry that day, and
Yeah, we've had a couple of them.
man, he was so mad. I was helping his mom get a new roof. Like, I got the roof approved and all of that, but it was real crazy. So I think her name is Terry. Terry said she has a question. What are your thoughts regarding car claims adjusting? Is it worth it? I'm good at paperwork and computers, but I don't see myself on the roof. What are your thoughts about car claims? Do you have any feedback for Terry?
So I know a couple people that did auto claims. Typically properties like considered like the pinnacle of adjusting if you're gonna get into it. The auto claims depends on what company you work for. I know each one does it a little differently. Some do like car centers where the adjuster literally sits in an office, waits for a car to pull into the garage, does a walk around.
Geico.
Yeah, I mean, even I think even Travelers does it. I mean,
Oh,
we
okay.
actually, my wife had actually gotten into like a small accident. The person didn't have insurance, of course, and so we had to go to there to just to get it checked on to see if it was even worthwhile. And pretty quick process. I mean, in and out. I mean, the guy didn't seem like super excited about his like day to day life though. Um, it doesn't have like the joys of adjusting in terms of the freedom to kind of operate on your own schedule. I mean, you're really stuck in an office, and it's like a factory. I mean, cars are literally one after another. There was like a line of cars waiting to get in, get pictures, marks drawn on them, and right back out. So if you're scared to get on a roof, I guess that's one thing that would be difficult as an outside adjuster, depending on the company. But some companies won't even let you get on. Travelers wouldn't let you get on a 2-story roof,
Hmm.
and they also wouldn't let you get on a roof that was an 812 pitch or higher,
Okay.
um, or any roof you didn't feel comfortable with. If you
Okay.
felt it was not something that you wanted to be on, you didn't have to get on it. And they have at the time I left, they had moved over exclusively to drones. And
Oh, okay.
so, the majority of their claims are all handled by drones. So, customer uses an app to take pictures of the house, get measurements. They come out with a drone verified damage, and that's it.
Right. Right.
So,
And yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a great answer because don't let yourself not being on the roof. First, I say try it and make sure
yeah,
you don't like it. Yeah, you're going to be a little wobbly the first time you go up there, but I
Oh,
mean, really, it's really not that as scary as you think it is. Now, granted, there's some roofs where you're like, oh shit, this thing is slipped. Like, let's get the hell off of
yeah.
here. But but like he said, there's if you don't feel comfortable, I've taken plenty of pictures of roofs just from the ground. I remember I was in New York. There, the roof had a freaking hole in it. I'm not getting up on this thing.
No.
Like, there's no way. So don't let that stop you. And I'm happy you mentioned drones because I'll be having a company who does drone training actually in Atlanta. I'll
Huh.
be interviewing them and working with them to train people on how to use drones coming up here this
Yeah.
summer. And then from there, some companies also use ladder assist to help you get up on a 2-story roof or on a very steep pitch roof. There's a lot of gear that you can use as well. And I've seen people fall, like, and it's not really you falling off the roof. It's really more like when you're on that ladder that kind of compromises you. And that's where I hear like getting on and off the ladder is where you want to have like your most consciousness. Somebody asked, I think Dwayne asks, one dryer covers how many square feet? And I think he's talking about your fans that you use as a water
Like
mitigation
the air
company.
fans. Yeah, it
Yeah,
just
I think
depends.
that's what he's saying.
There's different formulas, and it's also based upon like the linear footage of a room. So, if
Mm,
it's like a regular 10 by 10 room, you essentially, and then, and assume the whole room is flooded, you'd put one on each wall
okay.
typically. If there's
Gotcha.
some offsets, there's the formula, like, changes that. You have one for each offset. If
Mhm.
the room goes more than 15 feet, you can put another fan down to continue that air circulation in the room. The whole point of the air fans is to heat the room up, get that moisture out of whatever surface it's in. And then you have a dehumidifier set up either within that room or nearby, depending upon how many rooms on that level are affected to, get that moisture, trap it out of the air, and get that place dry.
Gotcha. And also to everybody, if you're just joining us again, we're talking to Jeffrey Teitelbaum. He is the owner of RST Roofing. Check into the chat over there. Let us know where you're checking in from. Tell us your experience. He's not only was he a former adjuster, now he's running his own roofing company, and he's just branched into water mitigation. And I'm sure he's going to be doing smoke and fire. I will let you know, I just learned a lot about water mitigation today. Like, you got to have it's the cool air, that helps bring that water out. And then, like, if you have wallpaper behind that thing, like that moisture starts to just try to get out. And sometimes it can't because it's like waterproof. And so the wallpaper start to fall off, and those are things that you have to know as an adjuster, what's going to need to be replaced. You do need to know how many fans is it going to take. That will help save your company some money, versus only using the water mitigation estimate too. But guys, also know that we're just talking for an hour here. There's whole certification classes that go over water mitigation and what you guys need to do. Not only do you want dryers and fans, but you also need dehumidifiers, and learning how many you need for those. And like he said, what type of room is it? What's the flooring and foundation like? Because a basement is going to be different than your kitchen, especially if your foundation is concrete versus a wood floor or carpet. And then also, spraying the antimicrobial agents before, starting your mitigation, just to keep that mold out. If you have plaster versus sheetrock, what are you doing there too as well? So if you do want to learn more, though, I do recommend you guys also reach out to Jeffrey, because you guys can work with him. He can show you exactly what to do, and then he pays well. And with your water mitigations, he's getting business, and he's letting you guys learn. And it sounds like a great opportunity right here in Atlanta locally, so you don't have to worry about going to Texas for an undetermined amount of time, or going to New York for an undetermined amount of time too as well. You can be in your own backyard. You're already paying rent and things of that nature. So let me see. I had a whole bunch of questions set up. Let me see. What advice, I guess, Jeffrey, would you give somebody if they're wanting to become an adjuster? Because I have to say that travelers, freaking personality test is like hard as shit for me, but I know how to pass it. I just haven't done it yet. Just haven't had the time to go through that test again, which you can only take once every 6 months.
Correct.
But look, tell us, like, if somebody wanted to be an adjuster, what would they do? And then tell us, like, what would somebody do, or what would you recommend somebody do instead, like coming to work with you? Like, why should they come work with you?
Yeah, I mean, being an adjuster in the beginning, very easy. Mainly because all you're doing is training. And so, you may spend the first couple months literally doing next to nothing when it comes to actual claim work. And so my first few months at Travelers, I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. And I didn't think I was really doing anything. But once the claims start to come in, that Monday to Friday lifestyle, even though you're not working the weekends, it feels like you're working the weekends, because you're just putting in so many hours in Monday to Friday, because there's so much pressure from above to get claims done and get them done timely and get them done accurately. And so it's difficult to do all of that at the same time. Especially once, you start realizing your pay can be affected by how you handle your workload. As a cat adjuster, it's a little bit different because, those guys just kind of come in, knock out some claims and just kind of keep it moving. But if you're going to make a real career out of it, it may be for some people. Some people might not mind doing that day in and day out. I very rarely saw people that were there for a long time. The turnover rate was very high. Usually that year and a half mark is about as far as people get. It's as far as I got. I mean, I was literally miserable. I was at the point where it was like, I might go back to police work, and I hated it. I was just that miserable as an adjuster, oddly enough. And, the better pay and everything else is good, but, your sanity is a little bit more important than making sure you're collecting a certain amount of pay every 2 weeks.
Right.
For me, switching to the contractor side, a bit of a leap of faith. Thankfully, my wife was super supportive for me to do it. But it's been very rewarding to us as well. Even in the short amount of time I've been doing it. I left Travelers in August of 2019 to do the business full time. I kind of had a part-time where I was just doing rehabs for general contractors and some contacts that I had made. But once I left insurance and I was able to start doing insurance work, it just like opened up Pandora's box, it seemed like. So I was, I've got my whole schedule this week already filled out. I mean, I'm already looking in the next week for things to do. Because we're just that, we're getting that busy, and it's February. I mean, it's not even busy season.
I know, right? And that's how it's been for us too. Like, we've been busy. IAs have not been busy. I'll put it hands down. Like, cat adjusters, not busy at all. Like, this is definitely the slowest time. But on the roofing side, like, I'm calling my guy like, hey, I got jobs like crazy. And then we're hiring adjusters on the PA side, because my adjuster, like, she's working, our claims last longer, but she's got 20 claims in queue, and I'm like calling her like, hey, what's going on with this claim? Because the faster she works those claims, the faster I get paid too as well. But I definitely hear you too on the roofing side. I think it's one of the best. When I first started roofing, I was like, okay, let me try this out. And the best thing is you could start part-time. Like, you could just do this on Saturday, a nice Saturday morning. You could go hit yourself a nice job. And I remember working a few hours, like that first one. I met with the homeowner, then met with the adjuster. Then I'm getting a check for like $792. I'm like, oh, for just those few hours of work. But then you go out as a cat adjuster, I swear you might make like $3,000 for a week, and you're like, damn, that was a lot of work for $3,000. Like, it's a lot of work for what you do. I mean, you really do those 12s. You really do feel
12-hour days, 7 days a week. I mean, that's not a joke. That's the real schedule.
It is, right? It's super is. And like, I'm there, and people want, and you want to be back home, which is crazy. But working as a roofer, my friend, he just got into it. He works with a different roofing company, but he's like, I wake up at 12. I go to the gym if I want to. Like, I don't stress out. You only work. It's hard to even work 40 hours as a roofer.
Like,
still get the same money. You're outside, you're making your own schedule where you want to work. And like you don't, it's not that same reporting level that you have. So your mindset is just totally different when you're a roofer.
Yeah, I wouldn't work this many hours if it wasn't for the fact that we had the water business going at the same time. That takes
Okay.
up some time. But I mean, just roofing. I mean, if I was to be like completely honest with myself, if I told myself I was working 30 legitimate hours a week, I mean that may even be stretching it at this point.
I know. I know,
I mean,
right?
I've got the right, I've got a CRM, so I've used a CRM called Job Nimbus.
Yeah.
It really helps streamline things. There's a lot of other services that I use for, like, I use Eagle View for measurements.
Hmm.
And so, if someone calls in and says, "Hey, I want an estimate on a roof," I'm I'm getting the measurements before I even walk in their door. So when
Nice.
I do get there, I know exactly what options I can offer them for a roof.
Nice.
Of course, I'm always looking to see if there's storm damage on it if I'm already there, as the adjuster in me says, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Um, but if not, I know I can write a retail estimate very quickly
Hmm.
and be in and out of that house in maybe 1 or 2 hours. I'm in and out of that house between
Right.
getting on the roof, getting down, showing some pictures, saying, "Hey, these are the issues I found with your roof. Here's your options."
Right.
Um, and so, you take all the stuff I do, even the phone calls I take and things like that. I mean, really, like 30 hours on the roofing side is about as much as I'm doing right now.
Right, right. Yeah, I definitely know. When I first started, I know roof. A lot of most of the people in on at our company were doing 10 a month, like 10,000 a month,
Oh yeah.
and just knocking doors. And it's just so easy. It's so simple, to do. And I mean, those checks come in, and the best part about it is if you're, you're able to kind of get that money pretty quick. Like, it just depends on when the adjuster is meeting, and just how much the amount is, because you might walk away with that check in hand, and by Friday, or next Friday, you're kind of getting that commission money.
Right.
Let's go back to a couple questions here that we have. Lavon Wiley, she said, how hard is it to become an independent desk adjuster for California? I actually don't know. I know California, Florida, Hawaii, and New York all kind of have their special rules. Jeffrey, you know anything about California?
I don't know if there's necessarily like an independent desk adjuster.
Mhm.
I think most desk adjusters actually work for like the insurance company.
Gotcha.
Um,
Right, right,
so like an example right now is USAA. They've pretty much taken all their roof claims and outsourced them to AllCat
right,
adjusting. We just had a fight with them for like 3 weeks over an Atlas Chalet roof. I called in the USAA, got it escalated. Finally, someone at USA looked at it and, just approved the roof. They're like, "This is ridiculous that we're even fighting this." And
right,
so I was able to get I just needed to get the initial approval. And then of course we'll put all the supplements on it now that we've got full approval. But
right.
I just needed the coverage. I just needed yes, we're replacing the
I
full roof.
know, right? Just give me one
Yeah,
shingle.
just give me
Just
do
give me
something.
one
Oh,
shingle.
it started off as a bundle of shingles for a
Okay,
repair. And I was like,
okay,
that's ridiculous. And then it became we'll do the front half of the roof.
yeah,
And then I was like, okay, that's still kind of ridiculous
yeah.
because you're
Just
diminishing
half
the
a
value
roof.
of the home. I said, you can't
Right,
go on half a roof and say that they're at pre-loss condition, which is really all that insurance is about, bringing you, so they teach you, get back to pre-loss condition. And
right,
so, it's kind of hard to argue that on an Atlas
right.
Chalet roof. And so finally, actually Saturday morning, I got a call from the adjuster saying, "Hey, we've approved the whole thing." So
Right, right. And so for all of you watching, an Atlas Chalet roof is a horrible shingle that they discontinued. And unfortunately, there's neighborhoods just filled with Atlas Chalets. So if you Google Atlas Chalet, I want you to call Jeffrey and let him know and point that house out to him so that he can help that homeowner get a decent roof actually that's going to last. Because the issue with Atlas Chalet is that they fall out in clumps. Like if you ever seen anybody like brush their hair and it's like coming out in clumps, that's essentially what Atlas Chalet does. The reason why they were created, it's kind of like if you guys ever seen those four stripe Adidas, like they were made to look like an architectural shingle, but they're not an architectural shingle. It's a very cheap quality. It's a huge problem in the metro Atlanta area, especially I've seen the neighborhoods built in Fayetteville where just every single house on that block is just Atlas Chalet. So again, we're talking to Jeffrey Teitelbaum, owner of RST Roofing Company. And what's the name of your water mitigation company?
that we go through, it's called curb appeal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that was actually a business that my partner had created, and so we've just run it through that. It's a lot
Gotcha.
easier with like an established business to, especially with some of like the insurance companies. We've been debating getting on some of the vendor lists. We've heard some
Okay.
horror stories about the vendor list, so we're
Yeah.
like half and half about it. But it's a
Uh-huh.
lot easier to tell a customer you've been around for 4 years than for 4 weeks. So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that vendor list. I'm hearing that too from, I mean, every insurance company seems like they seem to be moving towards the vendor list, but I'm hearing like I'm not hearing any too many good thoughts. Like I think one of the vendors, it was like Sears or somebody put on the roof, and this lady already has her roof leaking. I think it's a lot of the issues coming from the chimney, and then they didn't take care of the inside, which is another reason too, you guys, that you want to work with Jeffrey versus other roofing companies, because I know a lot of roofing companies, as soon as they're done with that roof, they don't care anything else about that homeowner. And I'm sure you can feel it now, like you probably feel more like you're actually helping people get everything that they need to get back right, versus when you're an IA and you're like, man, I should probably give them this too, but my hands are tied, so I can't.
yeah, that is tough. I mean, and that's what I told actually the adjuster at USAA. I said, you know what would make this easier is if you just did what's right for your customer. That would make life a lot easier for everybody. And
Isn't that crazy? Isn't
it
that
is,
crazy?
and
You
it's
got to
unfortunate.
remind them.
It's really unfortunate. It's almost like it's ingrained in the training as an adjuster to be as cheap as possible.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of companies. It's very easy sometimes to get the coverage, but then getting all the items you need on the estimate becomes difficult. And a lot of times my argument is like, listen, you're forcing us to use the software Xactimate to price our jobs.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to force us to use it, you need to use it correctly, not just
Right.
in a way that's going to benefit you financially as an insurance company.
Right. And I heard State Farm actually uploads their own estimate list, but
I've heard
it
a
looks
couple of
like,
companies do that, right?
yeah, it looks like it's Exactimate's list. So I got a couple more questions for you. As an adjuster, did you only have the Georgia license, and did you also do any cats too, or were you just in local?
So in Georgia, the rules here are if you work for a company, you don't actually have to get a license, which a little backwards.
Oh,
But yeah, as a staff adjuster here in the state of Georgia, I did not have to get any licensing, take any tests. Just went for training in Travelers headquarters up in Connecticut for a few weeks, and
okay.
according to the state of Georgia, I was good to go.
Oh wow, that's actually very new to me. So I mean, listen, you guys, you could go straight for, but listen, it's not easy becoming a staff adjuster. You gotta get through that
No.
personality test and interviews. That's one way to do it. I know Bernard was asking, he's checking in from Jacksonville, Florida. So the answer to your question of how many licenses do you need to become an adjuster just depends on which route you go. And again, I want you guys to understand, like, going the IA route is one way to do it, but there's so many other ways, you guys, to make a lucrative income in the insurance industry. I mean, I know I specifically mainly focus on claims adjusting, but this restoration and construction side is very, very lucrative as well. And that's why I wanted to bring Jeffrey in front of you guys, the owner of RST Roofing. And Lynn Nicole, she says she's definitely interested. She's here in Atlanta, Georgia. So guys, just ask a few more questions. I got about 10 more minutes. And let's see, I got a couple questions for Jeffrey too, but just check in into the chat. Again, let us know if you passed your test, if you worked as an adjuster before too, as well. And the other great thing about starting with a company like with Jeffries, you don't have to worry about the licensing, the certifications. I'm hearing so much, it's starting to blow my mind how many people are very excited about getting invited to the Ebro trainings, to the pilot trainings, to the Renfro trainings, and they're going to send you out there, guys, for 10 days, and there's no storms yet. They can only get you work when there's storms. Jeffrey's company can get you guys work right away. My company can get you work right away. Like you can start earning as you learn, and you don't have to spend 10 days. You know how much a hotel is for 10 days? You might spend like a G just going out there, and then to come back with no work. And they're praying, they're hoping for a hurricane and things of that nature. But we
Yeah.
get damage all the time. Tornadoes happen in Georgia. All this rain has been happening in Georgia. People's basements floods, and there's just a lot going on. So just letting you guys know that. Oh, so what's the best way to contact you though? Like, I mean, you want phone number,
So
email,
yeah,
LinkedIn?
I can give you guys an email and a phone number. That's not
Okay,
a
go with
problem.
the email first, and then I'll type that in. I think I got. Go ahead, go with the email, and then
Well,
I'll type that into the chat.
I'll say, can I chat on here or no?
I don't know.
So
I'm
it's fine.
on.
It's going to be Jeff at,
Okay.
and then it's rst-roofing.com.
Okay, so I'm putting that into the chat right now. So
And
if
then I'll give you my number too. You can, if someone wants to reach out to me via text or phone call at some point, I'm an open book. It's
okay,
404
uh-huh.
548
Five
8901.
nine. Say that again. 9
Let me see, 404 548
548
8901.
8901. Okay, so I'm putting that in there for people
Yeah,
to
and I mean you're right. It isn't like an immediate availability of income. It's pretty impressive. I just actually hired a new sales guy, and when I tell you, leverage your contacts, and sometimes you might think, I was talking to this guy. He's also a former police officer, and he's like, I need something different. And I was like, well, who do you know? And at first he's like, I don't know anybody. And I was like, no, everyone knows somebody.
right.
And, his first sale was a 6-figure condo job where we're redoing all the roofs and all the gutters.
Oh
And so
wow.
his first commission check is literally as much as his yearly salary last year
Man, I can imagine.
off of one job. And I was like, God. I mean, I'm happy, of course, because I get a decent chunk of change. But I just was like, I can't believe this guy comes in and the first thing he does is sells like this whopper of a job. And so I was cracking up.
Yeah, that happened actually. I just found out last week we had a new guy, and he came in, and he brought a commercial claim. That commercial claim was I think 1.2 million. And then so he'll get a nice commission from that. And then he had another claim that came in for 400,000. And I'm just so jealous of your condo claim, because I've been going to these like South Atlanta by the penitentiary, right?
Mm,
There's a neighborhood, every single apartment building needs a roof, but it's like
yeah.
it's hard as shit to try to find those. Like
You
they're kind of
gotta
slumlords.
we've come to find that unfortunately, some of the neighborhoods that are like a little more run down that need work, they're run by property management companies that like just don't care.
Yeah.
And so we found a lot more, I guess, luck you'd say, like north of I-20.
Okay.
It seemed to be more of our where we've hit it a little better.
Uh huh.
Some Southwest Atlanta areas have been nice. They're really going through like I guess it depends on how you look at it. They're going through like a
Yeah.
real strong gentrification, which, unfortunate in some aspects
Yeah.
for residents that have been there for generations. But business wise, it keeps us pretty steady. But
Yeah.
as my personal put back to the community, we do volunteer for Meals on Wheels Atlanta. So I
Nice.
always like to give them a plug. We try to
Good.
deliver meals if we can once a week, if possible.
Oh, I'm there
But
every day. I'm
are
there
you?
every day, Tuesday through Saturday. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, yeah. Brandon is like what my wife actually used to work there,
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
and then we're still real good friends with. I don't know if you know Brandon that works there,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he just changed positions, so now they got somebody new. But that's kind of like our give back to the community.
And
Uh,
that's what you get to do when you work like we work, when you work as a
yeah,
contractor, when you're working, when you have to be at State Farm building, driving through traffic up to Duluth 7 a.m., and you get off at 5, and all you want to do is get home by 7 p.m. because you've been at work all day. Like that's just, I can't even go back to that like that lifestyle anymore, because you miss out on volunteering opportunities like that. You miss out on giving back. You miss out on being outside too as well. So it's just, it's really nice. But
yeah. We try and put
uh
back as much as we can. We just actually just we're doing a sponsorship for Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce. They're doing a Valor Awards coming up in March, I think it is. So we sponsored a table Two of us get to sit there, but then they also buy back 8 seats for first
Oh,
responders
nice.
to sit at. So as a former officer, I felt like that was kind of a giving back a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other great thing. There's a lot of like I'm trying to get with the Boys and Girls Club next, and Habitat for Humanity too as well. I've been talking to them about how I can give back because I do have free time. I mean, you guys, I just want to tell you, again, it's about the lifestyle, and the money is still great. We're not missing out on any money. We're just able to enjoy our lives a lot better. And it's funny that you work north of I-20, because I'm like, when people are like, oh, what area do you work? I'm like, south of 20. Like, they love me. And then I do a little bit north of 20, like the West End, Collier Heights area, so
Hmm.
almost going along 285 up towards the Cobb County. I
Yeah.
work that area too. I mean, I work where with people who look like me and things like that. It just, it's just better. That's just how
Right.
the world is and stuff like that. So I love that you can stay I-20 north, because the city is plenty big for us. I'll even
Yeah.
go east to Decatur and work
We
south
do
of,
a lot of work in Decatur.
man,
Decatur,
tons,
Decatur's a
tons.
hot spot for us. I've got my 3 appointments tomorrow are all Decatur.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing I want to go back to. I mean, guys, we are staying busy, so have just a few minutes left here, guys, before I hop on another conference call at 9. So the last opportunity to ask Jeffrey any questions, but yeah, like I'm here in Philly, but I've been making appointments for next week. I was making appointments for next week last week, and people were calling me like, I thought you were coming Saturday. I'm like, no, like next Saturday. Like, I'm booked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday, even though like Monday's usually supposed to be my day off. But then it's like Tuesday and Wednesday are already looking like, okay, those are my next days to go out. But
Yeah, there's
yeah,
a
it's
certain level of
definitely.
freedom that this brings to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress level has, even though I'm running my own business, and so like I'm a little more dependent upon how much I work, of course, because if I don't work, I don't have money to pay the bills. But
Sure.
that hasn't been an issue since I started this, thankfully. And like you said, the market is strong for this kind of work, and so it's keeping us fed quite nice at this point.
Yeah.
And I like you'll come up with like crazy goals, like what should I do for myself as a goal, like what should I obtain. Like my next goal was like I want to make my yearly salary in a month, and
Yeah.
it seems crazy, but like honestly, like just off that one condo job, like that may be 2 or 3 years of salary in a 2-week job. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's like mind blowing the possibilities if you really put some effort into it.
It's true. So you got a 10x your number. We're 10x in our numbers over here. And I asked my trainer, I was like, what could I do to make 91,000 a month? And he started looking up. He was like, he was talking about himself. He was like, yeah, if I only work 3 months out the 3 weeks out the month, like that's where he would be, is at 91,000. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not even thinking big enough. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something that you all can do too as well. Like, we're not joking when we're like saying that it's lucrative. And when you get in, don't worry about experience. You'll bring the experience that you have, and you'll make this business work for you. So I just want to say thank you again, Jeffrey, for your time tonight. Now that I know you got your water mitigation set up, I'll definitely make sure you're a preferred vendor for us, because I haven't had one at all yet.
Okay.
So that'll be
Yeah,
perfect to
we
be able
work
to
with like
do
several agents here in Atlanta, and we've even had, I mean, we've even had some adjusters throw work our way just because they've been like, hey, we know you guys do good work. We know you know what you're doing, and you're not gonna, a lot of adjusters get upset with contractors when, they try to pad or fluff those estimates, and so they know if they use someone like us, like we know what we're doing,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's pretty helpful.
Yeah, and the best thing too about working with adjusters is that even if, I was arguing with somebody on Facebook just yesterday. Like, they're like, you guys put in unjustified line items, and it's like nobody's going to pay for something unjustified. We're going to put in what we feel like needs to be done to do the work, and it's things that maybe you didn't think about, but nobody's going to pay for unjustified things. Even as an adjuster, it may be a stretch, but if I justify it, you'll be like, okay, like that's how it's going to be. So yeah, I love it. So you guys get with Jeffrey. I got his information there in the chat. And again, thank you so much for your time, and super best of luck for just, it's not even March yet and you're already killing it. So I'm excited to rub elbows with you, and hopefully I can get a condo deal. All right. All right, everybody. I'll see you guys soon. If you guys have any other questions, just feel free to email me, you guys, or leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much, Jeffrey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.